Newlyn is a seaside town and fishing port in southwest Cornwall, UK. Newlyn lies on the shore of Mounts Bay and forms a small conurbation with the neighbouring town of Penzance. It is part of the Penzance civil parish, and is the southernmost town on the British mainland. The principal industry is fishing, although there are also a wide variety of yachts and pleasure boats in the harbour, as Newlyn is becoming an increasingly popular holiday destination, with many pubs and restaurants. Although the parish is now listed under Penzance, there is an electoral ward in separate existence called Newlyn and Mousehole. The population at the 2011 census was 4,432. Toponymy: the settlement is recorded as Nullen in 1279 and as Llewellyn in 1290, and the name is thought to be derived from the Cornish for pool for a fleet of boats, which is thought to refer to the shallows offshore known as Guavus Lake, traditionally the principal mooring for the fishing fleet in the area. History: before the rise of Newlyn as an important settlement, the landing rights and most property within the Newlyn area were owned by the manor of Alverton. Newlyn's history has been strongly linked to its role as a major fishing port. The natural protection afforded by the Guavus Lake led to many local fishermen using this area as a preferred landing site. Before the 19th century, Newlyn referred only to the area near the Old Quay. The part of the village that now contains the fish market was known as Streetnowen. This was separated at high tide from Newlyn town, the site of the lower part of the modern harbour being reclaimed land and formerly a beach. In fact, Newlyn comprises three discrete hamlets, all previously separated by bodies of water, being Tolcarn, Street and now in and True-Wevenneth. Newlyn was part of the ancient parish of Paul. It was common for villagers to climb the relatively steep route from Newlyn Cliff to Paul via the area which is now known as Guavus to worship at Paul Church. Until the mid-20th century, an ancient stone cross was present on this route at Park and Grouse. This cross was one site of veneration of the Cornish sea deity Bucca. The name Bucca has often been used as a nickname for people resident in Newlyn. The location of the cross is now unknown. In 1851, Newlyn became the separate ecclesiastical parish of Newlyn St. Peter. Earlier history: the Spanish raid of 1595 destroyed Penzance, Mousehole and Paul as well as Newlyn. In 1620 the Mayflower stopped off at Newlyn Old Quay to take on water. A plaque on the quay reads, "To the memory of Bill Best Harris, 1914–1987, historian and son of Plymouth, whose researchers indicated that the Mayflower, the 16th of August 1620, docked at the Old Quay, Newlyn for water and supplies, making it the last port of call in England, the water supply at Plymouth being the cause of fever and cholera in the city. Let debate begin in 1755. The Lisbon earthquake caused a tsunami to strike the Cornish coast more than 600 miles away from the epicenter. The sea rose 10 feet in 10 minutes at Newlyn, and ebbed at the same rate. The 19th-century French writer Arnold Bosquewitz claimed that great loss of life and property occurred upon the coasts of Cornwall, Newlyn and the Cornish language. Newlyn, along with nearby Mousehole and Paul, was the last stronghold of the Cornish language, presumably due to the strength of its fishing fleet. William Guavus, James Jenkins, Nicholas Boson, Thomas Boson, John Boson, John Cagwin, and John Kellenick Jr. had roots in strong links with the district. Subsequently, several antiquarians, including Prince Louis Lucien Bonaparte, Daines Barrington, Georg Sauerwein and Henry Jenner, who all collected Cornish writings or sayings, and the latter two became proficient in its use. Modern history: in the 1880s, a number of artists flocked to the town and formed an artists' colony. The painters of Newlyn came to be known as the Newlyn School. In 1896, Newlyn was the scene of the Newlyn riots following protests over the landing of fish on a Sunday by fishermen from the north of England, the local Cornish fishermen being members of the Methodist Church and as such strong supporters of Sabbatarianism. In 1915, the Ordnance Survey Tidal Observatory was established in the harbour, and for the next 6 years measurements of tidal height were taken every 15 minutes. In 1937, the fishing vessel Rosebud sailed to London to deliver a petition to the Minister of Health on behalf of those villages whose homes were threatened under the government's slum clearance scheme. During the Second World War, Newlyn was a base for the air-sea rescue craft covering the western approaches. The harbour was bombed during the war, hitting the Collier Green Hide, which was beached in the harbour at the time and supplied coal to the East Coast drifters, which travelled to Newlyn during the mackerel fishing season between the wars. Reporting the event on the Germany Calling propaganda broadcast, Lord Haw announced that the Luftwaffe had sunk a British cruiser in Newlyn harbour. In 2014, indie band The Hit Parade released Cornish pop songs, an album containing several songs about Newlyn, including Rainy Day in Newlyn and The Ghost of the Fishing Fleet. Local government. In 1894, Newlyn became part of Paul Urban District. The urban district was abolished in 1934 and Newlyn was absorbed into the municipal borough of Penzance. Penzance Municipal Borough was itself abolished in 1974 under the Local Government Act 1972, and Newlyn became part of the new Penworth district. The former borough was unparished until 1980. The unparished area was formed into a civil parish in 1980, and the new Penzance Parish Council elected to call itself a town council. Newlyn returns 5 councillors to Penzance Town Council. Penworth District was abolished in 2009, and Newlyn now falls under the unitary Cornwall Council. Geography. Newlyn is located in western Cornwall, just south of Penzance. It lies along the B3315 road which connects it to Land's End, Paul and Mousehole lie to the south. The Ordnance Survey, the United Kingdom's mapping agency, bases all elevations including mapped contour lines and spot heights on the mean sea level at Newlyn. The mean sea level data was calculated from hourly readings of the sea level between the 1st of May 1915 and the 30th of April 1921. Economy. Newlyn's economy is largely dependent on its harbour and the associated fishing industry. Newlyn Harbour is the largest fishing port in England. The port was a major catcher of pilchard until the 1960s. Today, a few vessels have resumed pilchard fishing and use a modern version of the ring net. The largest vessels are beam trawlers owned by W. Stevenson and Sons Limited, one of Cornwall's largest fish producers. Most of the other vessels are owned by the skippers. The company based in the old pilchard works today are major suppliers of Cornish sardines and mixed species fish. Sport. Newlyn RFC was formed in 1894 by the curate of St. Peter's Church, the Rev. Fred Peel Yates. The club amalgamated with Penzance RFC in 1944 to form Penzance and Newlyn RFC, currently known as the Cornish Pirates. Newlyn Non-Athletic AFC was formed in 1990 by a group of friends playing on Sunday mornings. They initially played in the West Penworth League before joining the Mining League in 2002 and the Trelawney League in 2011. Food and Music Festival. Newlyn is home to the Newlyn Fish Festival, which hosts live music, cooking demonstrations, and various marquees selling local produce. Notable landmarks. The UK National Tidal and Sea Level Facility maintains a tidal observatory at Newlyn, and the UK Fundamental Benchmark is maintained there. Newlyn was made famous in the 1880s and 1890s for its new UK.Newlyn School Artists Colony, including the painters Thomas Cooper Gotch, Albert Chevalier Tyler and Henry Scott Tew. The current largest collection of work by the Newlyn School is held by Penley House Gallery and Museum in nearby Penzance. A collection of Newlyn copper, produced from circa 1890 to 1920, is on view at Penley House. Newlyn is the home of Newlyn Art Gallery, which houses a collection of modern art. Notable residents: Ray Atkins, artist; Richard Cook, artist; Sir Terry Frost, artist; Thomas Cooper Gotch; Robert Hitchens; Charles Holroyd; W.S. Latchseamer, clergyman and scholar; William Lovett, political agitator; John Pearson; Brenda Wotton, singer; Alan G. Wyon, artist.